All right, welcome to this final video in the 100 Film Project series. My name is Abhishek Shetty, and this is a project I started this year with an aim to watch 100 films this year, with an average of about two films every week. And fortunately, even though I had a very difficult personal and professional year, I was able to complete this goal. I'm very excited about sharing this video. At the start of the year, I put out a project introduction where I told you how books can help you experience different emotions, experience different cultures, look at life from different perspectives. And I really think watching the films is a great way to extend and enhance your experience of life. As I was going through the films I saw this year, I realized that apart from films, I also looked at documentaries that had several episodes. I also looked at TV shows that had several episodes. And for me, anything in the audiovisual medium was something I considered for this project, and I didn't limit myself to just feature films. There were several films I saw through the year that I also didn't add to this list. But I was thinking about several ways to go about this final summary video. Should I tell you a lesson about each film? And I thought that would be a long video, and I started doing some research, and I thought the best way to really share this summary video was to tell you about my top 10 films of the year and 10 ways they changed my life, or 10 ways they taught me something special about life. So here we go. And as I get started on this summary video, I just want to tell you about some of the tools I use for this project. My first tool was my YouTube channel, where I documented reviews of each film that I saw through the year. As you can see here, these are the movies that I saw. And I marked it in this way. I'd write the name of the film review, and then the number of that review. So 100 Film Project number 5 was Full Swing, or 100 Film Project number 14 was Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway. And as you notice, I've seen films from not just Hollywood, but from film industries all over the world. Korean films, movies from the Hindi film industry. I love South Asian cinema. I'm a big fan of the movies from South Asia. So there are shows from all over the world, and I spent several hours not only watching these films but creating these videos. Some of these videos are 5 minutes long, some of these videos are 2 minutes long, and I never thought about the length of the video. For me, it was really important for me to share the essence of what I got from the film in that video. And honestly, the reason I made this video is because I hope that some of you watching this series will get at least 2 to 3 good film recommendations for your coming year. You know, there are 100 films in this project. So many of them are such, just so many beautiful stories, and there's been innumerable ways that it's changed my life. So the other tool I used was Letterboxd. It's this amazing. It was created in 2011 by Matthew Buchanan and Carl Van Rondeau in New Zealand, and they primarily created it as a medium to share their reviews of films with friends and family. And I use this platform a lot to discover new films. I really like the interface. As you can see, there's a profile for each one of you. You can set up a small category of your favorite films. And then this is my favorite part of the platform. You can do this thing where you can write a review for a film and then create this thing called a diary where it tells you all the films you've seen through the year and the dates you've seen it, along with the review you've given for each film. So as you can see, I have all my reviews listed out here for 2023. Um, and I will be talking about some of these films right now. Again, I don't have the pro platform, so you will see ads in this particular video, but I understand that's how they need to sustain their income for that website. Um, You can also create lists, and um, when you have a film, after I watch the film, I normally don't read reviews before I watch the film. Here's an example of The Elephant Whisperers. You can read so many amazing reviews by people you follow on this platform, and also people you don't follow. Um, but yeah, I there's like hundreds and hundreds of reviews for this particular film, negative and positive reviews. So I think you get a varied perspective to extend that film conversation. Now, here are my top 10 films of the year. There's no particular order for this. So the first film that I wanted to share with you was The Elephant Whisperers by Kartiki Gonzalez. Whenever I talk about a film, I'm just going to mention the name of the film and the director, but this particular medium allows you to really look at each particular individual that, and I think the writers, the editors, the cinematographers, the composers, the sound team, the actors, everyone is so important to make the film what it is. So please go through the credits list and look at this if you want to understand how the film was really made, because I think good films are really a combination or a group effort. So this film was about two elephant caretakers in South India, and their basic objective is to conserve and create spaces for elephants to live in their natural environment, and then help the next generation of elephants to transition into this natural environment. And this film taught me that there's no replacement for unconditional love in your life. You know, there may be 4 to 5 people in your life that love you unconditionally. And I think unconditional love can really transform your life. And not getting it can also really transform your life. We all deserve that kind of love at some point in our lives. And if you do get that love from certain people, really hold on to it, because it not only makes you feel safe and secure, but is that platform from which you can grow into anything that you want to be in your life. Um, and it's also a way to heal you in difficult times. And in this film, the two caretakers so so kindly take care of these elephants that it's this human animal bond was just so beautiful to watch. I cried at so many different times. Um, It's also so sad in this film. I don't want to reveal too much about the film, but there are incidents where the caretakers have to be separated from the elephants that they take care of. And you actually see the elephants and the people showing such vulnerable emotions in this film. Um, yeah, so that's my review for this particular film. Ooh, the next film that I'd like to talk about is called Kho Gaye Hum Kahan. It's directed by Arjun Vareen Singh. Three best friends juggle life as 20 somethings in Mumbai, where romance, ambition, and heartbreak collide with the addictive draw of social media. Now, for me, what I took from this film is that it's really important that you don't lose yourself in the process of trying to make yourself acceptable and influential to the world around you. Each of these characters, there's Neil, Ahana, and Imad. Imad is a stand-up comic. Ahana is a corporate. She works as a corporate consultant, and Neil works as a fitness trainer. They're all at different points in their lives, but they're all influenced by this digital age and this need to be influential and this need to be relevant and trying to make something of your life. But at the end of the day, they all want to be loved. They all want to be accepted for who they are. And I think this friendship that they have between them really shows them that they need to stay true to who they are, even when things get difficult in their lives. The next film I saw was We Are Newcastle United. Okay, so again, I've made notes of the things I want to share with you in each sort of video, as you can see here. But having spent over 300 million, this is actually a documentary series that I saw on a streaming platform, Amazon Prime. I think they do a brilliant job with football documentaries. And in this particular film, it speaks about how Newcastle United started a new era where they got new players, a new coach, and they really wanted to do well in the Premier League, which is the highest division of football in England. I really loved watching football growing up. I've been a fan of the team. My favorite team is another English team, but it was just heartening to watch this particular club go through so many different changes. And the fans are so loyal in that particular city that they've not won too many cups. Actually, they've not won anything in the last 15 to 20 years, but the fans keep coming for every match and supporting them. So I think it's important to realize that sports can become a metaphor for life. You know, there are ups and downs, you fail, you succeed sometimes, but at the end of the day, it's important to give your 100% no matter what. And this is a beautiful story about a football club in England and how it builds a sense of community in that particular town. Oh, Anxious People. I read this book by Frederick Bachman. Um, it's directed by Felix Herngren. And the basic story is that a bank robber holds the visitors of an open house hostage and then promptly vanishes. Then two policemen come to investigate the scene and they see a lot of people at this open house. And the movie basically investigates the life of each of the people in that open house, which is basically like a viewing of a house that needs to be brought in Sweden. There are four, five, six, seven, eight main characters, and each of them is going through some personal struggle in their life. Whether it's a relationship, whether it's a professional turmoil, whether it's something that happened in their childhood, whether it's something they want to do in the future. Um, and I think this film just showed me that it's important to be curious and not judgmental, even with the people that are mean to you, because there's always a backstory to how people behave in certain situations. Um, yeah, I loved this film adaptation. I read the book, and this was just one film that I was so happy to see the characters come to life. Yeah. Oh, this movie, Rocky Aur Rani Ki Prem Kahani. My favorite. I love watching Hindi films. Great music, great acting, great direction by Karan Johar. The crew overall, costume design, set design, special mention to the writers, Shashank Khaitan, Nishita Moitra, Sumit Roy. Um, just one of those films you want to watch and, watch again and again. I've seen it like two or three times this year. And it's about this love story of a business person, Rocky Randhawa, and of a TV news presenter, Rani Chatterjee. Rocky is from a Punjabi family, which is from the northern part of India. Rani is from a Bengali family from the eastern part of India. Now, their families are very different, but I think the movie is about their love story, but also about the love story of their families. And I think the first half of the film is about how they both fall in love and began to appreciate the strengths and shortcomings of each person. And the second half is about how they get their families to accept and love each other by again appreciating the strengths and shortcomings of each person. I think it's a note to that old adage of opposites attract and how um, it's important to appreciate the good and bad things in people because for you it may be a bad thing, but for that person it may be something that is positive, right? And I think perceptions and judgments are very subjective. So trying not to judge is really something you want to do in any relationship um, that you engage in your life. So I'm done with one, two, three, four, five. Oh, this film, Miriam Margolyes, Almost Australian. This film just made me happy. You know, I would love to have Miriam Margolyes as my friend. She's just got such an interesting mind and an interesting way to look at the world. You know, she's a celebrated actress. And in this movie, she basically takes a 2 month journey in her van across Australia and she interviews different people across the country about what it means to be Australian. She goes to the big cities, she goes to the small towns, and you really get to see the landscape of Australia, but you also get to see how different and beautiful people are in every country, not just one country. When you look at the history of a country, you think about important political and social events, but it's also the history of the people in that particular country, right? How they've lived their lives, who they've loved, what they've done with work, how they've created homes, and how they've lost the people they've loved. So yeah, such a beautiful documentary. Maybe one of the best things I saw this year. And it's a three-part documentary. I think it's streaming on Netflix, and maybe my favorite Australia documentary for sure. Okay, Past Lives by Celine Song. I saw this at the Toronto International Film Festival. They have these screenings in their theater called the Bell Lightbox. I often go watch movies there. It was one of my favorite things to do here in Canada. Just go watch movies at the TIFF Bell Lightbox. And the movies are reasonably priced, and they often screen movies that may not be released in big screens. And this is about two friends, Nora and Hae Sung, who grew up in South Korea. And then Nora's parents actually moved to Canada, and she decides to lead a different life, and her friend Hae Sung leads a different life in South Korea. 20 years later, they are reunited for one fateful week as they confront notions of love and destiny. And there was some connection when they were children growing up in South Korea, but this entire film makes Nora realize that I think it's told from the perspective of Nora. Like, what if she stayed back in South Korea and she developed this relationship with that person? Because at the point that the movie is being told, she's married with a partner in New York in the US, and just meeting this person from her past life makes her think about all the different possibilities of what her life could have been like, and it's told from her perspective, so you do see her perspective. Because I think this movie would be very different if it was told from Hae Sung's perspective. We always glorify the person that's maybe moved to another space, but everyone has their own journey. Even the people that don't move to another place have their own story that makes a lot of sense to them in their world. And that's something I realized when I was watching films this year is that, in real life, there's no supporting actor. We're all the central characters of our own lives, right? We don't go into any film and say, or any situation and say, oh, you are the supporting actor and this is the main actor. So similarly, life is not like the movies in that way. And when you watch a movie, you really want to see characters that own up to creating a, the visualization of them being the central character of their own lives and them coexisting. Films do try to get as close to real life as possible, but it's not real life. And you do have to identify those differences. But I think as an immigrant myself, that stayed in two different countries around the world, I was able to relate to this film in so many different ways. That longing of your home country, that longing for acceptance in your new country, navigating different national and cultural identities. Yeah, it's one of those films that is challenging to watch. I think films should really challenge you. And this was one of those films. It's not a something that made me happy. It made me feel melancholy. It made me feel sadness, made me feel regret, a little bit of guilt. But yeah, that's my review of Past Lives. Mm, Hometown Cha Cha. Um, Again, this year I started watching like a lot of Korean television, and this was a series I really enjoyed. It's about these two characters that one a big city dentist and another one is a tradesman who works in a small town that's close to Seoul in Korea. and it's about how the two of them develop a relationship with each other, but also with the people that live in that small town. And I think it's just such a beautiful documentary, and it taught me that home is the people and not the place. You know, you think that you only have to be in the biggest cities in the world to experience that acceptance. I mean, you don't have to be in a particular place to be the best version of yourself. You can be anywhere to be the best version of yourself. You know, being in a particular place does give you access to opportunities, but if you can create the same environment in another setting, you can get that same sort of satisfaction and contentment there. So home is really the people that you stay with and not the place. Um, this particular film, World War II from the Front Lines, I think a 5 to 6 part documentary about World War II. It has a lot of archival footage. I mean, this movie is just such, it's directed by John Boyega, and it just taught me so much about the war. And yeah, you know, being a young person fighting in a war, I can't imagine how it changes you physically and mentally in the long run. You know, I read some other books this year, like Slaughterhouse 5, that showed me how war can change a person physically and mentally over the long term. But yeah, just such a nice film. You know, actually, I want to give this a 5. I'm going to change that. And yeah, it teaches you about how the war started and how it ended in 1945. So it shows you so many videos and interviews of that 5 year period and what happened during that time. If you're interested in history, this is just such a brilliant documentary. And finally, Paris Can Wait, directed by Cop- Coppola. Diane Lane is maybe one of my best actresses, my favorite actresses. And this is a story about two people in their mid 50s that decide to take a road trip across France. And in the process of taking the road trip, they get to know each other better. But they also get to see so many beautiful sights and eat lots of great food, reawakening a desire for life in um, both these characters, you know, and think it's a good way that they've put it in the description, you know, reawakening Anne's senses and a new lust for life. You know, that lust for life is what we sometimes lose in the busyness of life. And this movie sort of celebrates, you know, those little moments where you really feel like, wow, it's just so amazing to be alive. So that's my review of my 10 favorite films. I saw 100 films this year. There are so many movies I wanted to include in this list, but I could not include. If you want to watch those reviews, please do go to my YouTube channel, Abhishek Shetty on YouTube, and you can see all 100 of these reviews over there. You can also follow me on Letterboxd for all my reviews. And yeah, I love the movie so much. I got this DVD player recently that I got online, and I started borrowing DVDs from my local library. And I mean, if you know me well, you know that I can talk for hours and hours about the films I watch. And it's just one of the things that really gets me excited about life. I just want to thank the films for helping me get through this year. And I look forward to sharing more reviews in the coming year. If you enjoyed this series, if you even watched one video, I'd really appreciate a comment or any of your feedback in the comment section below. You know, a subscription to the channel would mean the world to me. But if you've seen a movie that has changed your life in any way, and please do share it in the comment section. You know, I'm always on the lookout for films. I'd love to connect with you on Letterboxd. And I can also, you know, tell you how Letterbox has really changed my film watching habit and it helped me find so many brilliant films. And you know, some people ask me how I find good films. I think Letterbox is the main medium, but I also look at films that have won awards at different film festivals. I look at recommendations from friends and family and other people that inspire me creatively. I look at film reviewers from different journals and publications. And if I like a film, the another thing I do is I look at the other films by that director or that actor and see if I can relate to that. And I think a great way to watch the movies is also to watch a particular creative's work or study a particular creative's work chronologically from their first project to their most recent. So, I mean, this is my summary of the 100 films I saw this year and my 10 favorite films this year. Thank you again for coming with me on this journey, and I can't wait to read your feedback and comments. And signing off from this film project, but look forward to writing and sharing more reviews from the films I watch next year. I don't regret losing. I lost a lot of people this year.